Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Filter Gen Z. This is a special episode because it's 4th of July week or weekend, whenever this is up on Sunday. Um, this is the best country in the world. And yeah, we have some issues sometimes, but it's still the best country in the world. I don't care what people say. There's a lot of people that take it for granted, but we're not gonna take this for granted. The best in the world. The people that die for our freedom, and we're independent today. And I'm so grateful. So, welcome to No Filter. We are young Americans fighting to defend the truth and defend this great country that we live in. Lydia, Elijah, welcome to the show. I want to start with something fun for this one because it is 4th of July and it's a celebration. So, what is your, I'll start with Lydia and then Elijah. What are your guys' favorite thing, number one thing about the country? If you had to pick just one thing that you love about America, what is it?
Sorry, you literally just cut off the
Oh, I
entire
did?
question. Yeah, repeat that.
Just try to guess what. I'm just kidding. I said,
I was like,
what's your favorite thing about America? If you had to pick one thing.
I mean, that's hard. Wow, there's so many. Well, honestly, I feel like in the last couple years, ever since, I've gotten more interested in politics, I love just learning about just the America's founding and just like the Revolutionary War. Like that type of stuff makes me feel the most patriotic because
Yeah.
when you look back at the origins of how, we came to be, so to speak, I think that makes me, more and more just prideful of just being an American citizen and just living in this country and just seeing where we came from and the fact that we still, it's going to be 250 years and soon. So um and just seeing just kind of our origins and just seeing that we are a young country and just how all of that began, I think that's extremely exciting. Yeah, that's probably my favorite part about America is just learning about and just appreciating where we came from.
Yeah. How about you, Elijah?
I would say that's definitely up there for me as well. But for me, growing up in the sticks, as some people would say, my favorite part about this country is just the vast amount of wildlife and
Mm,
just the outdoors the good Lord gave us. And you know, I grew up in the woods, so I hunted, I fished, I survived out in the woods all my life, literally all my life. So. I mean, having that as my childhood, I am so grateful for that. And this country is amazing for having all this opportunity for kids to just explore and create and use their brains.
yeah. My favorite thing is the American dream, and because we're the land of opportunity, and the fact that anybody can come here and build their own anything they want to do, and make a something out of nothing. And in a lot of places, you can't do that. Like we take for granted that we can actually achieve our dreams in this country economically. You can build a business if you want to. You have the right here to do that, and it's just cool to see people coming from all over the world to the land of opportunity where they can actually achieve their dreams. Because you hear about stories of people coming from different places like Vietnam and just other countries to find Germany to find an opportunity to be able to provide for their family and do something for the people they love. And America's that place for everybody. For everybody, it's a place where you can do what you dreamed of, and it's such a cool thing. And I'm gonna cheat and add one thing: our military is the best in the world. I'm grateful for every single soldier, but we have the coolest military in the world. We got baddest freaking Marines, and I mean, no one's gonna come close to our military. So I got two, but I'm grateful, man. I just gratitude. Everything about this country is amazing, and there's issues, but that's why we're doing this show to work them out, talk to people, and show that you can talk and get through things without being violent and without showing hatred toward the country. Because something we see a lot today is people just disrespecting America, even people that live here. It's almost like they don't know how lucky they are because we have the freedom to worship our God. We have the freedom to say what we want to say. A lot of countries, you can't do that. China, and there's a lot of underground Christians in China because there's countries where you cannot do these things and have the freedom to um, all five of the freedoms from the First Amendment really are just to protest what you want to protest, to say what you want to say. It's amazing. But why? I'll start with Elijah. Why do you think that people are so ungrateful nowadays that live here and just so show disrespect towards it?
We've just become oblivious to the rest of the world. We just come so used to having these freedoms, and no one's been stripped of them. Um, except for Christians, it seems, as of right now. But
Lately,
you know, but all these liberals and even some conservatives, I will say, people just become ungrateful. It's human
yeah.
nature. But like we've just become so comfortable with where we're at, and yeah, that's my only reasoning of why.
What about you, Lydia? What do you think is what's going on with just people's perspective? I guess in America.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't disagree with that. I feel like they don't know how good they have it until they lose it, And so I think that we see that all the time, and especially the people, again, people on the far left, when they are the ones that are up in arms about certain things, they're also the ones that hold values that if they were in a lot of other countries around the world, they would be killed for it. They would
Yeah,
be put in prison. XYZ. They would a lot of different things could potentially happen to them, and so by making those statements alone, by saying like I hate this country, like I don't want to live here, like well then how about you try out other countries that you support? And we also look at the pro-Palestine movement, and we look at a lot of those activists and a lot of those people that stand in those spaces are the same people that would be killed in those countries.
yeah.
And so, and again, they would not be, bold enough to even say that or recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sad. So that fact alone, that kind of is ironic in of itself. Um, just that whole situation when you just see the people that are standing up for those things, like, hey, you know what? You're exercising your free speech, like you're doing all those things, but you're supporting a country that like necessarily does not have your the interest that you want to uphold with your own identity. But thank God that you can do it freely because you couldn't do it anywhere else to that extent.
Yeah, I
So
think so many things we do on a daily basis we don't even realize that other people can't do because they're
yeah,
not in our country. Like we really are. There's a reason why so many people are trying to get in even illegally. Like there's a reason why they're coming here because this is the best
yeah,
country for so many things. But I think one of the reasons why we see some of that disrespect is because we've gotten too comfortable almost. You know, the cycle that weak men create hard times create strong men, strong times create or strong men create easy times or good times. And I think we're at the point where it's so good for us that we've started to get so comfortable with the freedoms that we have that we're starting to then look at all the wrong and just say, "Dang, I hate this country. There's so many problems with it." Well, there's problems everywhere. There's problems in churches. There's problems everywhere, but nothing will compare to this country. And if you, like Lydia said, if you hate it, then go, go to another country, and then see. You'll see once you get there how good we have it here. That's what's gonna happen.
yeah. I think people will be humbled in a lot of ways, and I know when Trump was put into office, I know that there was even a lot of celebrities that did leave, and as far as I know, I think a lot of them are still there. So hey, good for them, I guess. But I guess it's one less vote that we have to worry about. So I'm not complaining here at all with that.
You guys think it's social media has changed this at all? I feel like it's so much easier now to just hate on things and hate on people and hate on all sorts of things because you're behind a screen and you're kind of people go on here and say whatever they want because they know nothing's going to happen. You know, there's no repercussions for that. There's no problems if you post something and then someone says something. Well, oh well, they can't. They're not. No one's going to punch you in the face like if you said something in real life. Sometimes some things people say that would happen. So do you think social media is changing that at all, Elijah?
Absolutely. I mean, look at England now. Look at Europe as a whole. People are being arrested for what they say online now. You don't get that here.
Mm,
You're very lucky that you don't. Um, so I think that social media has made people way too comfortable with just being hateful and being ungrateful as a whole. First off, you see what everyone else is doing, and you're like, dang, why aren't I able to do that? And then you got, you know, the media twisting and contorting information, and then you're like, oh, I'm outraged about that, and then it just creates this spiral of just ungratitude and stuff like that. So it's like we gotta just take a step back, in my opinion, get off social media for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just going to bring up what's happening in England too, because I keep seeing things come up just about how people are being arrested for Facebook posts. Like they'll say stuff and like, police officers and body cam footage, like they'll come to their house and be like, oh, like, why am I getting arrested? Oh, because you were making statements, that were, violent and all this. And, sometimes, okay, maybe there is rise for concern, not necessarily in England, but I'm saying, if certain statements are made, like, especially like terrorist remarks and things like that, like those should be taken seriously. But when you look at like where people are seriously, they are just expressing their opinions because maybe they don't have any other outlet and they do, which again, not always the good thing to vent on social media, so to speak, but that freedom of speech is being lost there by the day. And just to see what people are being arrested for over there, it is really, really sad to me. But I do agree, definitely like social media has become the bane of our existence in a lot of ways, and it has destroyed a lot of people just in how they process things, because sometimes that's the first thing people do is they go to social media, not even to vent about politics, but just to vent about things in general. And
Everything.
then and
Complain.
then but and there's a lot of people that could care less about what people have to say about certain things. And so then it just becomes that place where constantly people are just dumping all of their drama and their opinions about, any other person that they know. And so
Yeah.
it becomes toxic in a lot of ways, which is also really sad.
All I can say is good thing it's Independence Day. We don't have to
That
be
is true.
held by those restrictions because we're in this country. So definitely a lot of people that take it for granted how amazing we have it here. Just goes to show that even in the best place, you'll still look for what you don't have. I feel like in everything we do, it's like you won't see it till it's gone. Like kind of like what you said earlier, Lydia. They don't know how good they have it till they don't have it. That's just how we work, and it's kind of human nature. But it is something we gotta look past, get off of your phones for a little bit, open your eyes, and see how amazing it is just to walk outside and be free. It's awesome. But today one side, the left, is really twisting what this country was founded on and the principles that we were founded on, because people like to bring up that Christian nationalism is a problem for the right, that we bring in our values that shouldn't be, but they tend to forget that America was founded on Christian principles and values and the freedoms that come with it. So there's kind of an irony there, but what is with the left? I want to start with the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The literal like, which document is it?
What was that?
Is that,
Which
yeah,
document is
repeat
that
that.
from?
I believe the Declaration, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that
Yeah.
right there, people don't even agree with that anymore. So like, there's so many
Mhm.
things the left is doing. But do you think, this is just my opinion, don't you think that if life is in that line, that killing another person is wrong?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And also, when you look at the beginning of that statement, endowed by their creator
There
with
you
certain
go. Yeah.
unalienable rights. And so, there's that whole debate if whether or not we're founded on a, Christian nation and Christian principles. But I would say right there, I mean, it wouldn't be in the Declaration if we weren't. And
That's
so,
literally Jeremiah, though. Endowed by their creator means they knew.
yeah.
That's saying that God knew us before we were formed, and we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's plain as day.
not only that, but the Declaration mentions God 4 times. And the Constitution, I believe, where does it say it? Um, oh yeah, in the year of our Lord, it mentions in the year of our Lord, and a lot of, actually twice, in the First Amendment and the Sixth, Article 6. And there will be critics on the left who will say, well, it's not specifically mentioning God. It's not specifically mentioning Jesus. I'm like, all right, now
Our
you're just
creator.
grasping. You're grasping at straws at that point. You really are. I mean, you have no basis for your information and you're just biased and completely ignorant at that point. I mean, it's so overwhelmingly evident that we are built on Christian value in a Christian nation. Granted, there were founding fathers who were not Christian, but they believed that we had the right to be Christian.
But there's
Yeah.
element of Christian values that can come from people that aren't even Christian. Like they
Hmm.
can still believe in the values of Christianity,
Yeah.
even if they're not Christian. And I think that's like, even if there was some that weren't Christians, the values are what make this country America. I mean, if you
Hmm.
think about it, what Christian value is not an American value? It's literally intertwined. And I just think that the left wants nothing to do with God. I think they want to completely get away from the fact that there's someone who will hold them accountable for their actions. They don't want any accountability for anything they do. They want to make decisions irrationally, emotionally, and they want to play that victim mentality to where I'll do something, but then no, it's not my fault. It's your fault, and I'm playing with my emotions. Well, that hurt me. Well, I feel like this, and I just think that all comes back to not not wanting anything to do with God in the first place.
Hmm. No,
I think,
absolutely. And I look at also going back to the founding father thing and how a lot of them, weren't, but even Thomas Jefferson, because I don't think he was Christian as far as I know, but the fact that he, wrote the Declaration of Independence and had all of these themes, and you can really see how much that they admired Christian principles, even if they themselves weren't Christian. But that's huge if they admire from a specific religion, if they admire certain principles, and for them to put it in founding documents, I think that's pretty big. And again, you're right. The left has, they've come to hate the idea that someone will hold them accountable, and not necessarily, well, yes, in America, but in the broader sense, the Lord,
yeah,
and so, but to see that it's almost like the denying of that fact of that we have in our documents, that we have statements that were made, and certain cues to the Lord that are mentioned. I think that's huge, and I think that's where they've lost it that way, and being able to acknowledge those ideas.
yeah, yeah. I just think, I guess when I see the left nowadays, it's like hatred of America, not hatred of God. It's all the things that are reverse of what the founding fathers wanted for us, even if they weren't Christian. Like even the just the values of it are opposite. They're it's anti-country
Mm-hmm.
almost, and they want open borders. They don't want, which really an open border is no border, and without a border, there's no such thing as a country. That's what makes a country separate from other countries is the border around it. They can't grasp that concept. And when you take that out of the picture, you don't want borders, you don't want God, you don't want, you really just don't want America at that point. All the values are anti-American, and not everyone on the left is like that. There's some moderate Democrats that have some common sense, but
Mm-hmm.
majority of the party right now, it looks like, just don't want the America that made it great in the first place.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to be honest with you, I mean, open borders, we've seen this in history. It never ends well. Look at the
Yeah.
Saxons with their monasteries right on the open water with no protection around it. The Vikings made quick work of that. I mean, look at the fall of Rome. They just stopped taking care of their walls, and eventually the Goths took over them. I mean, an open border is an open border. Like, as of right
Okay,
now,
Elijah, bring in the history.
I mean, I love history, so I like seeing how history repeats, and I mean, it's going to repeat again if we don't close this border. I mean,
Yeah,
Mexico, sure, some of the people there are okay. They're good people. They need asylum here, but who's coming with them? I mean, do you know how big the cartel is there? It's insane how many people are there. They're all living in the middle of the woods where no one else can see them, where they can do whatever they want. They have connections with China. China is also trying to sneak in. They were caught trying to sneak in pathogens literally last week. I mean, spies were caught. China's trying to take us out from within. And then we got people saying Canada is not an issue. Sure, Canada themselves are not. But when you think about how open the border is there and how lenient they are there, I mean, it's pretty strict. But I've heard stories. I've lived in Buffalo. I know exactly what goes on there. I don't want to be corrected on that because I have firsthand experience. I don't need some statistic when I know the facts. So,
Mm-hmm.
simply put, we are under attack. So why should we have an open border? That's suicide.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
That is a good point. I look at also, I believe it's Poland, but I know that their border policies are, people talk about how we're strict. They're even stricter. They will shoot people on
Yeah.
sight if they're like near any type of border. And honestly, people should be thankful that we don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we have border patrol and we've cracked down a ton, but when people complain about us, they're like, and there's so many countries that they just haven't lived and haven't seen. And so yeah, but I do agree that we are under attack in a lot of ways, and obviously it's gotten under control, but we have to manage it somehow. That's why it's gotten better, is because we have more border patrol agents, we're continuing the wall, like all of these steps that we're taking are necessary in order to prevent, and again, things, people will still be able to slip in, things will still be able to happen, but we have to do our part, you know, as a country, and be able to take accountability for things, because, you know, the last administration did not, like, things would happen and they would blame it on Trump. I'm like, Trump hasn't been in office in how many years?
I
It's
know.
all under your administration, but I'm not going to go down that road. But because we know all this,
Yeah.
but again, so it is the blame game, but we really do have to take accountability, and we have to take the necessary steps and precautions in order to stop those things and lessen those things from happening.
Yeah.
So
The declaration, the word I was trying to think of earlier was preamble. It was the preamble to the Declaration of Independence.
okay.
I had to look it up because I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah.
But one thing about how this country was founded on the values is that first line, that all men are created equal, but it's not the same thing as what a lot of people spin equality as today. Now, with diversity, equity, and inclusion, it actually is not equality at all, because what the left is really rooting for is for people to be in positions that they're not qualified for just because of the way they look, which is not equality. It's really the opposite. It's how is that equal to the people that actually should get the jobs and stuff? And I just wanted to bring up that point because equality is not equity. It's not the same thing. And I don't believe that there should be an equal representation of every demographic just to make it like that. Just to make it look good. Like there's no reason for that besides trying to be some kind of like to get votes and be political and stuff. But for an actual, like, the easiest example is for pilots. No one wants a pilot just let me give you an example. Like, if you're going on a plane and they give you two options. One is an experienced pilot who's been flying for 15 years, whatever, has a lot of flights under his belt, or, and he's white, by the way, just so we use what they like to do. But then there's a new pilot that has like 3 warnings on his license because he's done different things, and he's black though. But because he's black, we need to make sure he's the one that flies the plane, right?
Oh, of course, yeah, of course.
I'm just
Obviously.
making a stupid example because that is
Obviously,
honestly
yeah.
how some of them react. It's like,
Mhm.
we need to make sure there's this many black people, this many Mexicans, not any white people. It's just like that. But
Yeah.
no one cares what you look like or what you do. If you're good at it, that's all people care about. And that's what
Mhm.
equality is. And I think that's what the founding fathers really wanted for equality, is for the people that can do the job to get the job, and they deserve it.
Well, I look at Charlie Kirk, because I know he's had people come up and ask him, but just talking about the DEI thing, he will always go back to when people say that diversity is our strength thing. But he goes, but why can't we, highlight our unity more than our diversity? Because, yeah, sure. I mean, I think diversity will happen naturally, but we need to be unified under, like, documents like that, Declaration, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, like things like that. We need to be unified, and we need to highlight that more than,
Yeah.
oh, because this person's black, we need to raise them up. Okay, but that's not the most important thing about them. If they're black, okay, that's great, but that doesn't need to be why we hire someone, why we lift someone up on a pedestal. We should lift them up on a pedestal because of their character, because of their
Yeah.
merit, their skill set, depending on what job they're looking at. And so, I love that he uses an example that we need to counteract that with unity.
Yeah,
We need to become
unity.
unified in these things instead of trying to put us in different, like you said, like different demographics, and having, like, make sure every X, Y, and Z is being represented, when in reality that should not be how it should be, but yet it has been. So
Yeah, that's a great point. I saw Charlie Kirk talk about that too. He's exactly right. It should be unity, not diversity. And hate to break it to people, but there are more white people in the country. So statistically, there's going to be more white people in jobs because and especially in areas where there's a big white population, like in certain cities. Of course, there's going to be more white people in jobs because there are more of them. That's just statistics. That's not anything against anybody that's black or anything else. It's just because of the numbers, it's going to naturally work like that. But if you're the best of the best, look at Ben Carson. He's black. He's a brain surgeon because he was the best, not because he's black. I think it actually takes away from their accomplishments when you say it's because of their skin color that they're there, you know?
Well, now you sound like a bigot, all right?
Yeah, calm down.
They will say that, though. They will. But
yeah, that's true.
It's crazy.
No, I love Ben Carson.
Yeah. But no one said, like, conservatives, we don't go, oh, good thing we got a black one. Like, no one says that. It's because he's the best of what he does. Okay. He's actually a faith leader for President Trump. He's been helping him with that. And he's a brain surgeon because of who he is, not because of the skin color. Why are Democrats so obsessed with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I remember there was a time I saw a TikTok and someone was attacking Caroline Levitt. And I brought up the example of Karine Jean-Pierre about how she was just extremely just misinformed and she just was lying about everything. And I remember people attacking me in the comments. And they were like, "Oh, you're just saying that because she's black, aren't you?
That's so stupid."
Racist." I'm like, sorry, actually, I can name like Byron Donalds, like Harris Faulkner, Ben Carson, like the list goes on. And so for them to use that as an example, I'm like, that's so ridiculous. And again, the skin color part should not be the part that's highlighted. These people are brilliant people, not because of their skin color, just because that they're smart, intelligent people who are informed properly.
So, yeah, it's really like kindergarten level understanding. It's
yeah, it is. They go back to the racist card every time.
But they're the ones that want it to be equal, but yet they're the ones that are judging people on their race.
Highlighting it. Yes, they're highlighting
that. That is racist.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to look at that. You're supposed to look at the person and their qualifications and their character, like you said. Nothing. It doesn't matter what they look like. I don't know why they're obsessed with that. But let's not forget that the Republicans were the ones who ended slavery, and the Democrats are the ones who originally were for it. So I'm just saying, a lot of Democrats say like, if you're black, you got to be a Democrat because the Republicans hate you. Well, it's not true. It's actually they were the ones who ended slavery in the first place. So just throwing that out there, that's really not accurate information that the Democrats like to throw. But what is anymore?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Democrats only started liking them in the 50s. That's only for their vote too. So
to get their vote, exactly. So if anybody's racist, that it shows by how you value things, and it's pretty easy. And I don't think that the founding fathers were thinking of that at all. And I guess it's different because there was slavery back then, but it's not at all. It was kind of a thing that was already going. Like it was just like a normalized thing. And
other countries did it, yeah. Exactly.
And it also wasn't just black people. There were also white slaves. Yes. A lot more black people, but there were also white slaves. Just saying that I don't think they did that just to be racist. I think that there's the preamble it says all men are created equal, and that's what really that's all we got to think about. And that that means women too, but just all men are created equal.
Of course.
It's actually a brilliant document. Like people don't understand how brilliant these people were in their minds to come up with something that was so like sophisticated to make a country work, because it's worked for this long, you know?
Yeah, they were ahead of their time when they were thinking. I mean, they had no idea how we would be now, but in order to create something that's not as general but not as specific, like it was a perfect balance of where it could still apply for years and years and years to come.
It's a genius, actually.
It is.
But yeah, all that to say that we're grateful for the values that they instilled in this country and for the independence they got for us and all the ones who fought for us, because that's what we're here to celebrate. And we are not going to be the ones that undervalue America, because we know how hard people fought for it. And that's part of the reason why I'm so why I feel so strongly about it, because those people really gave their lives so that we could be free, and that's amazing. Something to be celebrated. 4th of July, everyone have a great 4th of July. If you're watching this, if that's the week this is on, then it's going to be a great time to party and celebrate all the people that fought for your freedom, make sure we're independent.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for coming again, Lydia, Elijah. It was a great episode. Guys, let us know what you want us to talk about next. We'll be back next week with another episode, and we'll see you then. Just click that subscribe button. Peace.